year 2437. Earth was no longer alone. Humans had discovered life across the galaxy, hundreds of alien species, strange planets, and giant space stations floating between stars. Earth had joined the Galactic Union, a council of advanced civilizations working together in peace. Alien ships came and went. New trade routes opened. Humans met aliens face to face. But one thing never changed. The Aurelians never came. They were the galaxy's oldest species, ancient and wise. They had seen stars born and die. Their ships were massive, silver like moonlight, and moved without sound. Every planet in the Union welcomed them, except Earth. No one knew why, even when Earth invited them. Even when humans begged, the Aurelians stayed away. They flew around Earth's system, but never entered orbit. They avoided Earth like it carried a deadly secret. Most people stopped asking, but Captain Rayden Cole didn't. Rayden was an explorer, a man who had traveled beyond the edge of known space. He had seen dying stars, black holes, and floating cities in the dark. But this mystery why the Aurelians feared Earth would not let him sleep. One cold morning, as Rayden floated above Earth in his ship, the Echo Hawk, he saw it, a signal. It came from above Earth's moon, short, silent, and strange. Rayden stared at his screen. The signal was repeating the same words again and again. The words weren't human, but the translation was clear. Do not awaken what sleeps. He froze. What is sleeping? He whispered to himself. The signal had no source. It wasn't coming from any known satellite or station. It was old, very old, maybe thousands of years old. Yet it was still broadcasting, like a warning left behind. Rayden recorded the message. He checked with Earth's command center. They had no record of such a signal. It didn't exist in their data. Not even in secret military files. That's when Rayden made his decision. He would find the Aurelians. He wanted to ask them one question. What do you know about Earth? He set his course for the edge of the solar system. His plan was simple. Follow the path of an Aurelian ship. He had seen one just days before, passing by Jupiter, but never turning toward Earth. As the Echo Hawk slipped into deep space, Rayden watched the stars stretch into lines. His heart beat fast. The mystery felt bigger now, older. He could feel it in his bones. Something was wrong with Earth. Something humans never learned about themselves. 3 days later, he found them. A small group of Aurelian ships hovered near a dead star system. The system had no life, no light. Only ruins of planets torn apart long ago. Rayden hid behind an asteroid and watched. The Aurelian ships were still, as if listening to the silence. Then something happened. One of the ships turned. Rayden's ship was cloaked, hidden from sight, but somehow, the Aurelians saw him. His screen flickered. A new message appeared. One direct, private. You are from Earth. Leave now. Rayden's hands shook. He replied, typing carefully. Why do you fear us? There was no answer. Instead, the Aurelian ships turned away and vanished into a wormhole. But before they left, one of them sent a final message. Only 2 words. Final seed. Rayden sat in silence. Final seed. What does that mean? Is Earth the last of something? He checked the signal from Earth's orbit again. It was still playing. Do not awaken what sleeps. The warning echoed in his head like a drum. Rayden knew he had just stepped into a secret buried by time, something ancient, something dangerous. He looked at Earth from far away, beautiful, blue, full of life. But now, he saw it differently. It wasn't just a planet. It was hiding something. The galaxy's oldest species feared. Rayden, Cole whispered to himself. Whatever they're afraid of, it's already here. He didn't know what it was. He didn't know why Earth was called the final seed. But he knew one thing for sure. This was just the beginning. Captain Rayden Cole couldn't forget the message. Final seed. The Aurelians had sent it just before. They disappeared into the wormhole. It wasn't a warning. It felt like a fact, cold and final. Now, Rayden was chasing shadows. He had no idea what final seed meant, but he was sure it was about Earth, and he believed the answer lay with the Aurelians, the galaxy's oldest species. If they feared Earth, it had to be for a good reason. He followed their path through deep space, jumping across systems using star maps and gravitational trails left behind by their massive ships. For 2 days, his ship, the Echohawk, traveled quietly through dark space, alone and invisible. Then, he saw something strange. Ahead of him was a ruined star system. The sun had collapsed long ago. The planets were broken floating pieces of rock, drifting through blackness. But in the middle of this dead system was one small planet, still whole. It was cold and gray, with ancient ruins covering its surface. And orbiting above it was an Aurelian ship. Rayden, slowed down. His ship remained cloaked. No signals, no movement. He drifted closer and scanned the surface. The ruins were massive towers fallen, temples cracked open, roads covered in ash. Strange symbols were carved into the stone. None of it looked human, but it felt familiar. He landed the Echohawk and stepped outside, wearing his pressure suit. The wind was still. The ground was silent. As Rayden walked through the ruins, he noticed carvings, images of stars, ships, and tall creatures with glowing eyes. These were the Aurelians, but something caught his eye. In the middle of a broken temple was a giant wall. It was covered in symbols and human shapes. Men and women were drawn with light around their heads. Behind them, galaxies burned. Below them, planets broke apart. And at the bottom, one single word was carved, repeated many times in different languages. Seed. Rayden stepped back. This wasn't just a ruin. This was a message, a record, and Earth was part of it. He pulled out his translator drone. It scanned the wall and slowly built a translation. The message read, "The humans were not born on Earth. They were scattered, one final seed, on a blue world. We watched them. We feared them. We dared not return." Rayden's breath caught in his throat. "Not born on Earth," he whispered. "We were ... placed there." The writing continued. "We sealed the knowledge. We erased the memory. Earth must never awaken." Suddenly, his comms beeped. The Aurelian ship above had noticed him. A new message appeared on his screen. "You should not be here." Rayden quickly replied, "I saw the wall. I saw the truth. Why did you fear us?" There was silence for a moment. Then, a final message came through. "Because once before, your kind broke the stars." Then the Aurelian ship vanished. No flash, no sound, just gone. Rayden stood alone on the dead planet, heart pounding. The truth was worse than he thought. Humans didn't evolve on Earth. They were sent there, like seeds. By who? He didn't know. And the Aurelians, they weren't protecting humans. They were watching from a distance, making sure the past never returned. Rayden looked up at the sky. How much had been hidden? How much had humanity forgotten? He returned to the Echohawk, carrying data from the wall. Back on the ship, he connected the ancient message to the signal near Earth. Both used the same pattern. Both warned of awakening. Something wasn't just sleeping on Earth. Something dangerous was sealed inside humans themselves. A thought struck him. What if we are the weapon? He looked at his reflection in the ship's window. Just a man, a simple explorer. But now, he carried the secret of an ancient galaxy, and that secret was heavy. He set course back toward Earth, but not to return home. He needed to go deeper. He needed to find proof. If humans were planted on Earth, someone had to put them there. And maybe someone was still watching. As the stars passed by outside his ship, Rayden whispered, "We were never alone, not even in our own minds." The truth was out there, and he was going to find it. Captain Rayden Cole sat quietly inside his ship, the Echo Hawk staring at the screen. His mind was full of questions. Humans were not born on Earth. They were planted there. And the Aurelians feared them. He had seen the wall. He had read the message. Final seed. That meant there were others before Earth. Other places where humans or something like them had existed. But where were those worlds now? Rayden decided to search for them. He opened the ancient star map he had stolen from the ruins. It was old, thousands, maybe millions of years old. Some of the stars on the map no longer even existed. But 3 planets were marked in red. Earth was one of them. The others were far away. One was near a collapsed system, just dust and rock now. The second was gone completely, destroyed. The third still had a signal, faint, weak, but alive. Rayden locked in the coordinates and jumped through hyperspace. It took almost 2 days. When the Echo Hawk arrived, the planet looked strange from space. It was half covered in red sand, half in ice. There were no cities, no green. But the signal was real, coming from under the surface. Rayden landed near the icy side, where the signal was strongest. He stepped out in his suit. The wind was sharp, the silence heavy. As he walked toward the signal, he saw something rise from the ice, a black tower, broken in half, buried deep in the ground. Carvings covered the walls, human-like faces, eyes glowing, mouths open in a scream. Rayden shivered. His drone scanned the tower. It had been built over 100,000 years ago. Inside, he found a dark chamber with a glowing crystal in the center. It pulsed with light as he entered. Suddenly, a voice spoke, not out loud, but inside his head. Another seed. Another failure. Rayden froze. "Who are you?" he asked. The voice replied, slow and deep. "We are what came before. You are what came after." Rayden stepped closer to the crystal. "You mean humans lived here, before Earth?" "Yes. Many worlds were chosen. Many were lost." Rayden asked, "What happened to them?" The voice was quiet for a moment, then said they remembered. Rayden didn't understand. Remembered what? The crystal pulsed again. Who they truly were. What they were built to do. Rayden looked around. The tower was cracked and blackened, as if burned from inside. "You mean they destroyed themselves?" The voice replied, "Not just themselves. Stars, moons, civilizations. Once awakened, they do not stop." Rayden felt cold. The Aurelians hadn't lied. Humans had been created, planted like seeds. But when they remembered, something inside them changed. Something terrible. He looked at the crystal again. "Why plant us at all? Why not destroy us?" The voice answered. "Because not all seeds bloom. Earth was the final test. If peace could grow there, hope remained." Rayden stepped back, shocked. So Earth wasn't a mistake. It was a chance, a final try. But if humans ever remembered their past, if they awakened the thing inside them, it would all begin again. Suddenly, the crystal dimmed. The tower shook. The voice gave one last warning. "Do not return here. The past must sleep." Rayden ran back to his ship as the ground cracked behind him. The tower was sinking into the ice, like it never existed. He took off quickly and left the planet. Back in orbit, he looked down. That world had once held humans, just like Earth, and they had burned it. Rayden now understood why the Aurelians feared Earth, why they never entered its orbit, why the message said, "Do not awaken what sleeps." It wasn't a warning for aliens, it was a warning for us, for humans. Rayden sat in silence. He remembered all the wars on Earth, the hate, the anger, the destruction. What if those weren't just human flaws? What if they were memories, small pieces of a violent past, hidden deep in human minds? He stared at Earth's image on his screen. Beautiful, alive, fragile. But now, he wondered, was Earth truly peaceful, or just still asleep? Rayden set a new course. He had to return to Earth, but not to tell the truth. Not yet. He needed to know more. He needed to find the first seed, the original one, the planet where the first humans were created. If he could find that, he could understand everything. But deep in his heart, he feared something. What if the first seed had already awakened, and what if Earth was next? Captain Rayden Cole was flying back toward Earth, but everything felt different now. He had seen the lost seed worlds. He had heard the voice from the ancient tower. He knew the truth. Humans were not born on Earth. They were planted there last and final. And now, he had one goal. Find what sleeps inside Earth, the Aurelians warned. Do not awaken it. But what was it? A weapon, a memory, a mind. Rayden needed answers as his ship, the Echo Hawk, entered Earth's orbit. He noticed something strange. There was a gap, a dark space around Earth, perfectly shaped like a ring. It was invisible to the eye, but the ship's sensors showed it clearly. Other planets didn't have this. Only Earth. Rayden zoomed in. Inside the ring, radio signals bent strangely. Light curved. It was like a bubble around the planet, something hidden. He scanned deeper. There it was, a structure, floating high above Earth, fully cloaked, and old, very old. It wasn't human-made. It wasn't even Orellin. It had no name, no signal, but it was alive. Rayden's ship shook as it got closer. Warning lights blinked. A voice echoed through the ship, not from any speaker. You are too close. Rayden blinked. Who said that? There was silence. Then a whisper inside his mind. You? We're not supposed to return. Rayden's heart pounded. Return? Where? The whisper grew colder. To the gate. To the cradle of memory. Rayden realized something terrifying. The structure in orbit wasn't just a machine. It was a lock. A seal placed above Earth, too. Keep something inside. He looked at its shape. Wasn't round like a station. It was shaped like a cage. Suddenly, his ship's systems crashed. The lights went out. The engine stopped. The Echo Hawk floated dead in space. On the screen, a new message appeared. Memory breach detected. Rayden held his breath. He hadn't done anything. But the seal had detected his thoughts. It knew what he had learned. It could read his mind. The screen flickered again. Images flashed, planets burning, stars exploding, shadowy figures screaming in the dark, and in the center of it all, a face, human, but wrong eyes, full of fire, hands tearing space apart, a voice shouting in rage. We were gods. We were wrath. Then silence. Rayden fell back into his seat. Sweat covered his face. His body shook. The visions had felt real, like memories that weren't his, but somehow were. The power went back on. The engines restarted. But something had changed. Rayden looked in the mirror on the wall. For a second, his eyes glowed. He blinked, and it was gone. What's happening to me? He whispered. He didn't know it yet, but the seal above Earth had opened a small path into his mind. A small memory. Just a cracked dot enough to let something through. He quickly flew away from the structure. The further he got, the better he felt. His mind cleared. The voice stopped. Back in safe orbit, Rayden accessed hidden files from Earth's satellite records data only top officials could see. What he found shocked him. There were gaps in satellite footage every year, always at the same place in orbit. Parts of space left blank, covered, erased. Even the best scientists were ordered not to ask. Rayden now understood. The governments knew, maybe not the full truth, but they had seen enough. Enough to fear what was above them. Enough to leave it alone. But leaving it alone wasn't enough anymore. Rayden had triggered something. The seal had spoken to him, and he had seen the face of what might come next. He opened his mission log and recorded. A new message. Earth's orbit hides a structure, a lock older than memory. It's watching us. It's alive, and I think it's starting to open. Whatever we were before, It's coming back. He paused. I don't know how much time we have. I'm going to Antarctica. If there's a path to the truth, it starts there. The Aurelians called Earth the final seed. I think the roots are under the ice. Rayden closed the log. He set a new course for Earth's surface. His next destination, a secret research base hidden beneath the Antarctic ice, where strange readings had been reported, signals coming from deep underground, and just before landing, he heard the whisper again. We remember your kind. Do you remember us? Rayden's eyes turned to the frozen horizon. The past was waking up, and soon, everyone would remember. Captain Rayden Cole floated silently in Earth's orbit. His ship, the Echo Hawk, circled the planet like thousands of others. But Rayden wasn't here to enjoy the view. He was searching for something hidden, something ancient, something forbidden. After everything he had seen, ancient seed worlds, broken civilizations, and warnings from the Aurelians, Rayden knew one thing for sure. Earth was not normal. It was special, but not in the way humans believed. Rayden activated deep space scanners and began searching Earth's orbit carefully. He wasn't looking for satellites or space junk. He was looking for something the Aurelians feared. And then, he found it. At first it looked like empty space, a blank area where no signals came through. But when Rayden adjusted the scanner's frequency, a strange shape appeared. A black ring, not metal, not rock, something invisible, something alive. The ring surrounded Earth like a dark halo. It didn't shine. It didn't move, but Rayden felt it. His screen flickered. A warning appeared. Signal interference detected. Unknown energy field ahead. Rayden zoomed in. Inside the ring, he saw a massive hidden structure, floating just beyond human sight. It looked like a cage, or maybe a seal. What is this thing? Rayden whispered. Suddenly, his ship shook. Lights flickered. A voice entered his mind, not through the speakers. It was direct. A deep whisper said, "You are not allowed here." Rayden froze. Who's speaking? No answer. His heart pounded. The temperature inside the ship dropped. The air felt heavier. The voice returned. You come from the seed. You carry memory. Rayden held the control panel tightly. He didn't understand. What memory? He hadn't awakened anything, had he? Then, the screens changed. Flashes of image, and terrifying. He saw burning planets. He saw dark figures standing in fire, raising their hands as stars collapsed. He saw human faces twisted, enraged, powerful, too angry, destroying everything around them. One figure stood alone. His face looked like Rayden's. Then the voice whispered again, "This is what sleeps. This is what you are." And the images disappeared. Rayden gasped for air. His head hurt. His vision blurred. The ship's system rebooted. Lights returned. Engine restarted. But something inside Rayden had changed. He looked into the reflection on the screen. For a second, his eyes glowed gold. He blinked and they turned back to normal. "What was that?" he whispered. He opened the communication log. The system showed no message received, no interference detected. But he had felt it. He had seen it. The structure in orbit had entered his mind. Rayden backed his ship away from the black ring. The further he got, the more normal he felt. The cold in his body faded. His thoughts cleared. Whatever that thing was, it had a presence, a mind, and it didn't want to be disturbed. Rayden scanned Earth's government satellite files. He found something strange. Every year, during the same time, the satellites stopped recording this part of the orbit. It looked like an error, but it wasn't. The data was deleted on purpose. Someone knew about the ring. Someone was hiding it. Rayden sat back in his chair, thinking. The Aurelians stayed away from Earth's orbit. The seal above Earth whispered warnings. The old alien ruins called Earth the final seed. And now, Earth's own leaders were hiding something above their own planet. He opened his log and recorded a message. Earth's orbit is not safe. There's something above Usanshin, intelligent, and watching. It knows who we are. It knows what we were, and it knows we are starting to remember. He paused and looked at the Earth through the window, so peaceful, so beautiful. But now, he knew the truth. Earth was the cage, and humans were the lock. Or maybe the key. He searched for recent activity near the planet that might connect to the strange energy field. One place stood out: Antarctica. A deep signal had been picked up, below the ice almost, matching the strange energy from the ring in space. A hidden base had reported tremors and power failures. Then, complete silence. Rayden set a new course. He had to go to Antarctica. If the truth was buried somewhere, that was the place. Before leaving orbit, he heard the voice one last time: do not go below, do not break the seal. But Rayden had already made his choice. He was going below the ice, even if it meant waking the past. Captain Rayden Cole stood on the frozen ground of Antarctica. Snow fell from the gray sky. The wind howled like a warning. His ship, the Echohawk, was hidden behind a mountain of ice. No satellites could track him here. No signals could escape. Ahead of him was a metal door, half buried in snow. Shaking in the wind, it was the entrance to Research Station 9. The base had gone silent 2 weeks ago. Before that, they had sent a strange report. Something deep under the ice was pulsing with energy. And then, nothing. No replies, no rescue teams. Rayden walked up to the door and placed his hand on the scanner. The screen blinked. Access denied. He pulled out a device, hacked the system, and forced it open. The door groaned. Inside, the base was dark and cold. Lights flickered. Walls were cracked. Something had happened here. Rayden stepped inside with his flashlight. He moved slowly through the empty halls. Bloodstains on the floor. Broken screens. Papers scattered. Not a single body. It was like the people had simply vanished. He found the control room. The last log on the screen showed one sentence: "It's not beneath us, it's inside us." Rayden stared at the words. His heart raced. He searched the base's files and found video logs. The last one was shaky, recorded by a frightened scientist. The man's face was pale. His voice trembled. "We picked up something. A pulse. It's matching the frequency found in orbit. We thought it was coming from the core, but then, people started to change. They heard voices. They saw things. Some began speaking in ancient languages. Some tried to dig deeper, until they screamed and never stopped. If anyone sees this, it's not the ice you should fear. It's your own mind." The screen went black. Rayden sat in silence. He remembered the whisper from the ring above Earth. He remembered the visions, the glowing eyes, the ancient memories. And now, it was happening on Earth. People were hearing the same voices. The same memories were waking up. Rayden left the control room and took the elevator down into the deep tunnels. The walls were thick, frozen, and quiet. He passed empty labs, abandoned equipment. Then he reached the dig site. A giant hole had been carved deep into the ice. At the bottom, something glowed faintly, a dark stone, shaped like an egg, covered in strange symbols. It pulsed with slow, soft light. Rayden walked toward it suddenly. A voice echoed in the chamber, not out loud, but inside his head. "You are close to the truth." Rayden didn't move. "Who are you?" he whispered. "We warned them. We showed them visions. We begged them to stop, but they were curious. Curious and proud." "Who did you warn?" "Your kind, the first seeds. On other worlds. We gave them peace, but they chose war." Rayden looked at the glowing stone. "You're not human, are you?" "No. We are the builders. We placed your kind on safe soil, watched you from afar. But even in silence, your rage spoke." The light grew brighter. Rayden stepped closer. His mind flooded with images: planets burning, ships falling from the sky, entire galaxies turning black. He saw humans screaming in rage, destroying everything in their path. And then, he saw something else, a decision. The builders, ancient and wise, had sealed the human mind, locked away their power, planted them on Earth one final chance, one last test. We tried to protect you from yourselves. We built the cage. But the cage is weakening. Rayden's hands trembled. What do you want me to do? Leave. Tell no one. Let the past sleep. If Earth awakens, everything ends. Rayden stared at the pulsing stone. He could feel it pulling at him. Part of him wanted to touch it. Part of him wanted to remember. He turned away. Not yet. He ran back through the tunnels, climbed into the elevator, and returned to the base's surface. As he looked at the sky, snow falling around him, he whispered, "They tried to warn us, and we didn't listen." Back in his ship, he made one final log. There's something under the ice. Something ancient. Something that was never meant to wake. And now, it's whispering again. If we don't stop, the galaxy may see the real us again, and they won't survive it. Rayden set his course, not to Earth's cities, not to its leaders. He needed to find the first seed, the place where humans were truly born. If he could find it, maybe he could stop what was coming. But deep inside, he knew the warnings were not enough, and the past was no longer sleeping. Captain Rayden Cole flew low over the frozen lands of Antarctica. The wind screamed against his ship, the Echo Hawk, but he didn't stop. He had seen too much to turn back now. The voices in his head had grown stronger. They whispered at night. They showed him visions of ancient stars, ruined cities, and burning skies. And always, the same voice repeated, "What sleeps below must never rise." But it was rising. Rayden knew it. He had seen the strange black stone deep beneath the ice. It pulsed like a heart. It was not just a machine. It was alive, and it was waking up. He remembered what the voice had told him. "We locked your kind away. We gave you peace. You chose to forget. But now, your memory is returning." Rayden felt it too. His dreams were changing. Sometimes, he remembered places he had never seen, battles he had never fought. He saw his hands glow with power, tearing through alien armies. And in every dream, he was not alone. He was surrounded by others humans, with burning eyes and voices like thunder. He didn't know if they were real, or just memories from a time before Earth. But he feared the answer. He landed his ship near a second dig site, one not marked on any map. It had been hidden by ice and time. Only a few scientists knew about it. They were all gone now. As Rayden stepped out of the ship, the ground trembled. The ice cracked under his feet. A deep sound came from below, like something breathing. He walked toward the center of the site. There, the ice had melted away, revealing a strange doorway. It was carved into the stone, glowing faintly with blue lines. He touched the door. It opened on its own. Inside was a tunnel, long and dark, leading down, deeper than any human had ever gone. Rayden walked in slowly. His light barely touched the walls. Strange symbols lined the stone, images of humans with stars above their heads and worlds burning below their feet. At the end of the tunnel, he reached a chamber. It was massive. In the center stood a giant sphere, floating in the air. It spun slowly, and lightning danced across its surface. Rayden stepped closer. The moment he did, the voices returned, louder, clearer. "Welcome, last child. You are not supposed to find us. You are not supposed to remember." Rayden fell to his knees. His head pounded. His eyes burned. But he didn't back away. He shouted, "What are you? What am I?" The voices replied as one. "We are your past. We are your truth. We are the part of you that was sealed. And now, we are awake." The sphere pulsed. Rayden saw everything. He saw the first humans, not born, but created, planet long gone. They were made to fight, to conquer, to destroy. The builders in ancient race had shaped humans as weapons. But humans grew too strong, too fast. They turned on their makers. They burned stars. They crushed planets. Entire civilizations vanished, and when the war ended, only one choice remained: seal the humans away, erase their memories, send them to a quiet world Earth, a place where they could live in peace and forget. Rayden collapsed to the floor. Tears rolled down his face. He whispered, "We were monsters." The voice replied, softer now, "You were made to destroy, but you chose peace. You chose to love. That is why you were given one final chance." Rayden stood up, shaking. "But it's waking up, isn't it? The rage, the memory, the power. It's coming back." "Yes," said the voice. "Because your world is breaking. Your people are turning. The seal is weakening." Rayden clenched his fists. "If I don't stop it, we'll destroy everything again. Not just the galaxy," the voice said, "but yourselves." He looked at the sphere. It was beautiful. It was terrifying. It was him. All of humanity's power, its rage, its pain. Its fire was sleeping inside that sphere, and it was no longer asleep. Rayden turned and ran back through the tunnel. The ground shook harder. Cracks formed in the ice above. He reached the surface and launched the Echo Hawk into the sky as he flew. He sent a message across space. "This is Captain Rayden Cole. I've found the truth. The final seal is breaking. We were built for war, but we can choose another path. If you hear this, protect Earth. Stop what's coming, or we'll become the thing the stars fear once more." He looked back one last time. The ice cracked open. Light poured from the ground, and deep below, something opened its eyes. Captain Rayden Cole flew high above Earth in his ship, the Echo Hawk. Below him, the ice in Antarctica cracked wide open. Light burst from the ground like a rising sun. The thing that had been sleeping beneath the surface was now awake. Rayden's heart felt heavy. He had seen the truth. He had heard the voice. He now understood what no one else did. Humans were not the heroes of the galaxy. They were the danger, the forgotten threat, the old nightmare buried in time. And now, they were starting to remember. The black sphere, under the ice, had been a prison. It held the ancient part of human memory, the part that remembered war, power, destruction. That part was sealed away for a reason, but curiosity broke the silence, and now it was too late. Rayden opened a private channel to the Galactic Union. He knew they would be watching. Earth had already triggered fear across the stars. The Aurelians had refused to enter orbit. Other species had gone silent. Everyone felt it. The change, the rising pulse. He began his message. "To the leaders of the Union. This is Captain Rayden Cole. I carry the truth you feared. We were not born on Earth. We were created before it. Created to conquer, to destroy. We were sealed away to protect the galaxy." He paused and looked out the window. Earth still looked peaceful from space blue, green, alive. But under that surface, something had cracked. We are waking up, not just one or two of us. All of us. Slowly, quietly, in dreams, in anger, in war. What sleeps inside us is not gone, just hidden. He took a deep breath. "But I still believe we can choose." Suddenly, alarms blared in the ship. A new signal was rising from Earth. It was the sphere, broadcasting a frequency across the planet. It wasn't sound. It was a feeling, a wave of emotion rolling across every human mind. People began hearing whispers. Some felt rage with no reason. Others cried without knowing why. A few looked at the sky and felt powerful. The memory was returning, not with words, but with emotion. Rayden saw the reports come in. Cities were on edge. People fought over nothing. Riots, violence, fear. The seal had cracked open, and the old human nature, the one built for war, was flooding back. He looked into the mirror. His eyes flickered. Gold again, just like in the visions, just like the ancient humans who had burned the stars. And now, He understood the final truth. We were the monsters, Rayden whispered. Not aliens. Not invaders. Us. He saw the faces from his dreams, humans flying through space with fire in their hands. They weren't fighting for peace. They were destroying everything in their path. Not for survival, but for power. Rayden grabbed the controls. He knew what he had to do. He couldn't stop the memory from spreading, but he could stop the source. He turned the Echo Hawk around. Destination, Antarctica. One last time. He flew fast and low. The ice below was broken, glowing. The sphere floated now above ground, spinning slowly. It hummed like a song made of thunder. Rayden set the ship on autopilot, loaded a containment device, and grabbed a detonation core. If he couldn't lock the memory again, he would destroy it. He landed and ran toward the sphere. The voices screamed in his head, "Don't do this. We are you. You are us." He shouted back, "You were us, but we are changing." The light grew stronger. His body shook. His hands burned. But he moved forward. Step by step, he reached the center and placed the device. He looked up at the black sphere, so beautiful, so deadly. "Goodbye," he whispered, and hit the button. A bright white light exploded. The ground shook. The sky turned silent. Then, nothing later, when the storm cleared, a rescue team arrived. They found the ship. They found the burned hole where the sphere had floated. And they found nothing else. Captain Rayden Cole was gone, but the signal had stopped. The whispers faded. People calmed. The memory, whatever it was, had been broken again. Earth was safe. For now. But deep in some humans, something still waited. A spark, a shadow, a distant memory. They didn't know what it was, but sometimes, in their dreams, they saw stars burning and felt powerful. Rayden's final log was shared across the galaxy. His words became a warning for all species. Be careful of humans, not because of what we are now, but because of what we were, and what we might become again. Hi, this story is made by a human just for fun. It's not real. All the characters and events are made up. Thanks for watching.